My name is Rachel Rofe. I created the show because I wanted to help you see that if you have a choice, you can choose a better life. If you're listening to this podcast, you're in a pretty fortunate position. You have free will, ability to connect to the internet, and access to all kinds of new education. This podcast is meant to help you make the most of your good fortune. We talk with all kinds of people here from all walks of life because I want you to see that no matter what your situation, there's always a way to create a life that you're proud of. Hey, it's Rachel, and today's episode is going to be short, sweet, and it is a case for scheduling only 3 to 5 things per day. And I really think that this is the absolute best way to get things done without feeling constantly overwhelmed and anxious and like you're in this race that you just can't win. And today's episode is sponsored by TimeManagementTricks.com. So I've decided to start bringing in sponsors wherever I can in my podcast episodes where it makes sense because, I love doing this podcast and I love just offering more value to the world. And I'm also realizing that it actually takes like over $1,000 a month in just editing and transcripts and all this stuff. So hopefully you don't mind, but I will be incorporating sponsors wherever it makes sense. So today, Time Management Tricks, and it's a course that I have on different things you can do to just maximize your time as much as possible. Okay, so let's get into it. So many of us are just so overwhelmed all the time. We have so many things to do, and we just have these endless to-do lists with so many things going on. We always feel like we can never get what we have done. And I feel like it chips away at us constantly. So it's like, there's never time to actually just go and relax because it's always in the back of our mind. I could be doing this one more thing. When you go to bed, you're thinking about what you can do in the morning. And we're in this world of constant pings and notifications, swimming in things to do. It's just stressful. It's super anxiety building. I feel like, I've been thinking about this lately. I feel like there weren't as many panic attacks years ago as there are now. And so many people are just so anxious. And it's like, if you listen to that podcast with Eric Zimmer that we did recently, I mentioned that Eric Schmidt, CEO of Google, has this quote. He said, every 2 days now, we create as much information as we did from the dawn of civilization up until 2003. Which is crazy. There's just so much information coming at us, so many things to do. It's just, even just talking about this now, my head is it's pounding, and I'm feeling anxious just thinking about how many things we can schedule for ourselves to do. And so I think the best thing that you can do is simplify. Just simplify. There's been such a big trend around decluttering, and it's because it makes such a difference. So my number one hack for you, my number one thing that you can do to not feel so stressed and so overwhelmed is to just break down your tasks into 3 to 5 action items per day. That's it, 3 to 5 things. If you're just getting started, 3 things. And by that I mean every morning, or actually every night, go through and figure out the 3 to 5 things you want to get done the next day, and then just only make yourself do those things. So when I say this, I don't say, well, just for today I'll do 7 things, or just for today I'll do 10 things, but then tomorrow I'll get to 3 to 5 things. I know that's a mistake that I made. No, don't do that. 3 to 5 things, because it's going to help you just pick the most important tasks for you to do. So the thing is, right, if you have a list of like 100 things that you need to do, or even 20 things, it's human nature. You're going to want to get quick wins. You're going to want to be able to feel like you've done some things. So you're going to go and you're going to pick the quick tasks that don't really mean anything, but they give you a cross off the checklist. But when you're just picking 3 to 5 things per day, you're going to look for the things that are going to make the most difference to your bottom line, to whatever you're trying to do. So it could be to a project that you're working on, to generating more revenue in your business, but it's just going to naturally keep you thinking about what's the most important things to do, right? So if you have a big project and it feels really overwhelming, then just break it down into manageable action steps. You can break it down into hour-long things, 30-minute things, 10-minute, whatever is not going to overwhelm you. But if anything's overwhelming you, it's just because it hasn't been broken down enough. So break things down, pick the most 3 to 5 important things, and if you want to supercharge it even more, then go through and whenever you're doing your whatever you have scheduled, pick the thing that is going to require the most, it's the hardest for you. Do that first, or the thing that's the most creative. And that's because when you're freshest, you're going to have the most energy, the most willpower, you're going to be able to think the clearest. And so if you can knock that off first thing, it's going to be smooth sailing from there. Everything's going to get easier and easier, and you're going to be so proud of yourself for knocking that out first. And when you do that and you simplify to these 3 to 5 things per day, I guarantee you're just going to feel so much better. There's going to be this huge weight off of your shoulders. You're going to feel proud. You're going to see that you're actually making real results. I'm telling you, it is amazing. So please incorporate it. Let me know what you think of this episode as well as any other episodes. And if it helps, just ping me on Twitter, rachelrofay.com. Really hope it helps. And again, this episode is sponsored by timemanagementtricks.com. So if you'd like more ideas on how to become as productive as possible with as little anxiety as possible, just head over there. All right, have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to A Better Life. You can find all show notes for this episode at rachelrofay.com. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe so you can automatically get access to all new shows. Let's also connect. Just go onto Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram /RachelRofay and we can talk there. The opinions of all guests here are their own, and I'm not necessarily endorsing any of them. I do want to give you perspective though. And always remember, if you have a choice, choose a better life.